right, it's tomato time. Okay, we're going to be using Mama's old pot again. So what we're going to do here is we're getting our water ready to put our jars in. And you want to make sure that you thoroughly wash them before you put them in the water. This rack here is to keep them from banging on the bottom and cracking. And then we're going to get them washed and rinse them with hot water, and then I'll put them in the pot and finish sterilizing. All right, got them washed. Jars are in, and then you want to make sure that your seals and your rings go in the water. Put a cover over it, and then I let it sterilize for about 2 minutes, and then I turn the fire off. And then in this pot, the water is ready for the tomatoes. You want to make sure it's up to a boil. Okay, make sure you wash your tomatoes. And then this is a trick that I learned from the Italians. So you want to take and pour this out. You know, I have chickens, so you could save this for your chickens. All right, and then, hold on, I need a serrated knife. And then you're just going to score the top like this and like this. All right, let's get these done. I'll be back. Okay, got the tomatoes cored. Water is boiling. Jars are being sterilized. And at this point, you want to have an ice bath ready. You're going to leave your tomatoes in the boiling water no more than a minute. You'll see the peels start peeling away, and then you want to take them out. And honestly, I do about 8 at a time because I don't like to feel rushed, because you also don't want to leave them in the ice bath for too long where they lose all their good juices. And so the reason you score it up here, when it breaks loose, you just peel the peeling off of it and it doesn't cause the tomato to explode. All right, let's get this done. They haven't been in but just a couple of seconds, and you can see how the peel is already starting to separate. Like I said, you don't have to leave it in very long. Look at that. That was probably about 30 seconds, honestly. And then you're going to put them in an ice bath long enough to peel that peeling off and get them out of there. And that's another reason why I do about 8 at a time, because you want to get them out of that hot water just as much as you want to get them out of the cold water. You don't want to leave them sitting in there while you're taking them out and doing a couple at a time. Okay, let's get these peeled. Okay, real quick. So for me, the canning essentials that I need are: 1, a colander for jars, a colander for bottles, a magnet to pick up your rings and seals out of that boiling hot water. This here is when I put the tomatoes in the jars, and this is anything that I can, is you want to press it on the sides. You want to get all air bubbles out, okay? And then little Dollar Tree colander, which I broke the handle on this, but I didn't really need it. But this is really good to push things through, drain, whatever. This here is your jar grabber, because you don't want to be putting your hands in that hot water. Okay, that's a little tip from me to you. Okay, jars are sterile. I'll be removing the rings, and then the rest I'll let sit, because your rings, they will tend to rust. So don't leave them in the water constantly. The seals, that's fine, because they're going on the jars as soon as they get filled. But I'm going to let these cool down now. And some things you will want your jars hot. Like when I make my apple butter and stuff, you want your jars hot. But because I'm doing tomatoes, they're going to be cool by the time I put them in the jars. And then another tip is, say you get all your tomatoes prepped and everything, and you just need to take a break, like me. I'm going to sit down and have me some lunch. So I'll put these in the refrigerator. And it's okay to put them in the refrigerator up for a couple of days, but you really don't want to. You want to get them done and get them in the jars. So, okay. Hope this is helping somebody. Okay, here we go. Break time's over. So I put the tomatoes in a pot on medium to low heat, and I'm going to let them just start cooking down. And then I didn't mention, so tomatoes put off a lot of juice, and a lot of people will cook them for hours upon hours. Well, I'm going to take the juice as it cooks out and turn that into tomato juice. Many, many different things you can do with your tomatoes. Look how much juice it's already put off, and I've only had them in there about 15 minutes. All right, these have been boiling for about an hour, and then I have drained the juice out of it that we will make tomato juice with. And so some I will can like this, and then once I take what I want out, then I'll turn the rest into some sauce. And then I heated my water back up and then turned the fire off. And then once I put the jars in there, I will turn it back on, and then they will boil for 35 minutes. And then I put the seals in some hot water so that when I put them on the jars, they seal really good. And I have added a tablespoon of lemon juice, some oregano Italian seasoning, and a little bit of salt. I don't put a whole lot of salt because you can always add salt when you're cooking with your tomatoes. All right, here we go. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace. And these here, this batch here, this is kind of like whole tomatoes. And then you want to make sure you have a paper towel with some white vinegar, and you just want to go around and clean any like juice splatter or anything to make sure that you have a good seal. And you want to check, make sure that you don't have any cracks in your glass. And then you want to take your top and a band. Make sure that it's on a good, you want to do it hand tight. And then go ahead and set it in your hot water. And then you want to make sure that you have about a 1/2 inch headspace over your jars. So at this time, if you need to add more water, which I do, you go ahead and add more water and go ahead and get your fire going.